Timeout. Sun.
Looks like she's in pain after that pass. She had been dealing most recently with a groin injury.
Imagine this. Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever walk into the iconic TD Garden in Boston to take on the Connecticut Sun, the very same team behind that controversial eye poke and body check incident back in June. But what was supposed to be an intimidating away game quickly turns into something else entirely. The arena is packed with 19,156 roaring Fever fans, flipping the narrative and turning enemy territory into a full-blown Fever home takeover. Still, nobody could have foreseen what was about to happen. Clark was on the cusp of making history, set to break not just one or two, but 3 WNBA records in a single game, all while outscoring the entire Connecticut Sun team during the final 5 minutes. What followed was nothing short of If you're backing Caitlin and the Fever, drop a comment saying, "I've got the Fever. Let's go." Fully aware of the stakes and the magnitude of the moment, Clark addressed the anticipation ahead of tip-off. "I know last year's game had great attendance and great energy, so I'm expecting the same tonight. But for myself, you never take these opportunities for granted. It's always fun to go to a new arena and a new place and enjoy it. And I expect the same here tonight." Their last face-off on June 17th wasn't just another game, it was a powder keg of physical play and growing hostility. J.C. Sheldon's eye poke and Marina Mabry's body check on Clark ignited outrage nationwide. The game spiraled into a display of unregulated physicality, with the officials failing to rein things in. What unfolded were multiple scuffles, ejections, and a battered Clark, resulting in a league-wide conversation about the lack of protection for players. In the third quarter of that game, the Fever trailed by 10, as Clark tried to back down Sheldon, only to be met with a foul to the face. Furious, Clark was then blindsided as Mabry rushed in and delivered a body blow, sending tensions skyrocketing on both sides. Now, back in TD Garden, the tension is palpable. This isn't just a rematch, it's personal. Clark walks into the building with a laser focus, every foul and cheap shot from June fresh in her mind. But something feels different this time. There's a shift in energy, a newfound intensity surrounding the Fever. Announcers didn't hold back as they reacted to the previous incidents. Of course, Marina Mabry is going to get ejected because that was unwarranted. She literally came out of nowhere and chucked Caitlin Clark. There should be a flagrant one on J.C. Sheldon because she swiped and hit her in the eyeball. Whether it's intentional or not, you can still be called for a flagrant foul. Yet the league's official response was stunning. Technical fouls were issued to Clark, Mabry, and Tina Charles. J.C. Sheldon received a flagrant one, and that was it. No ejections. Now, at TD Garden, magic begins to unfold. Despite being far from home, the roaring crowd of 19,156 creates a energy that reclaims the arena as Indiana's own battleground. Fever chants echo through the rafters. These fans didn't just attend, they dominated. Sophie Cunningham steps into her newly embraced role as Clark's enforcer, ready to stand tall if anything crosses the line again. Meanwhile, the Sunstick, with their aggressive blueprints, mothering Clark with full court pressure and double teams, daring the rest of the Fever to respond. This time, though, Indiana is ready. The players are locked in, aware of their roles, and prepared to answer. If things get physical, this game is about redemption, and Clark finally has the firepower behind her to rise. You feel the difference immediately. With Clark back as the team's orchestrator, the Fever offense regains its identity. The pace accelerates, the rhythm returns. It's the same brand of basketball that once made them feared opponents earlier in the season. In recent games, the Fever had been out of sync, plagued by rushed shots, turnovers, and offensive stagnation. But now, that wasn't the Fever anyone recognized. That wasn't who they were. Clark's presence during warm-ups said it all. Her body language was sharp. Her teammates circled around her with purpose. This wasn't the same squad that was manhandled back in June. They came to Boston with a clear mission to remind the Sun exactly what happens when you try to target their star. Right from tip-off, Clark was locked in. She worked Sheldon with surgical precision, darting through defenders and slashing to the rim with a pace that made it nearly impossible to contain her. The Sun attempted to disrupt her rhythm with constant pressure, double teams, and defensive traps, but Clark adapted. Instead of forcing shots, she became the facilitator, drawing defenders in and setting up her teammates with precision. The ball zipped around. The offense clicked. Indiana ended the game with 22 assists on 29 made baskets, a clear indicator of Clark's brilliance as a floor general. Kelsey Mitchell was electric, pouring in 20 points, many of which came off clean looks made possible by Clark's ability to pull defenders. With Mitchell lighting it up from deep, the Sun could no longer afford to overcommit to Clark. Natasha Howard was dominant inside, racking up 18 points and 13 rebounds. With the floor spaced and movement flowing, Howard found herself in prime scoring positions and owned the glass. The Sun simply couldn't keep up. The Fever were balanced, cohesive, and relentless. Sophie Cunningham added critical energy off the bench, knocking down timely threes and hustling for loose balls, injecting life when the starters rested. Even though Aaliyah Boston had a tough shooting night, her contributions were impactful, providing assists, pulling down rebounds, and anchoring the defense. This was the definition of a team win. The end result: an 85-77 win forged on tempo, teamwork, and resilience. This is the blueprint for the Fever: fluid offense, defensive grit, and unselfish execution. It's the identity that made fans believe in this team from the start. And while the whole team shined, Clark quietly carved her name deeper into WNBA history. Her shooting stat line might have looked modest, just 4 of 14 from the field, 1 of 7 from beyond the arc, but those numbers didn't tell the full story. Clark became the fastest player in WNBA history to reach 450 career assists, accomplishing the feat in just 53 games. For context, Ticha Penicheiro held the previous mark at 62 games. Back in the late 90s, Clark shattered that record by 9 games, an enormous gap in a league where every assist matters. That wasn't her only milestone. She also became the fastest player to reach 150 career three-pointers, demonstrating she's not just a brilliant passer, but a scoring threat from anywhere on the court. That kind of versatility and speed of adaptation solidifies her as one of the most dangerous players in the league. But the most impressive record might be this: Clark extended her streak of 5 or more assists to 40 straight games, longest such streak in league history. 40 games of elite-level playmaking, 40 games of elevating everyone around her, 40 games proving that her value goes far beyond how many points she scores. Then came the final 5 minutes, a stretch that served as Clark's personal masterpiece. In those closing moments, she outscored the entire Connecticut Sun team by herself, one player, eclipsing a full roster when everything was on the line. She took over, found her rhythm, and reminded everyone watching that she's built differently. That dominant stretch, paired with the 3 record-breaking milestones, officially stamped her as not just a rising talent, but a transformative presence in the women's game. But just when it seemed the night couldn't be more perfect, one moment shifted the mood. Brutal, that's the only way to describe it. The expression on Caitlin Clark's face told the story. Late in the game, she appeared to tweak her groin, concerning development in what's already been a season touched by injury. Whether it was pain, frustration, or a combination of both, the strain was visible. In the game's final minute, she dished out an assist to Kelsey Mitchell, only to immediately clutch her right leg and grimace. Something was wrong. The energy in the building changed. The once deafening celebration softened into uneasy murmurs. The victory was still theirs, but concern for Clark now loomed heavily in the air.